Hello, my name is Joy Ryshpan-Harris, and this is the Mrs. Knapp Show. Today, we welcome to our virtual studio Mr. Brett Silver. He is the Outreach and Public Awareness Coordinator for Nevada Talking Book Services. Brett, how are you doing today?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. I've got a few questions for you here.
Absolutely.
So Brett, were you born here in Las Vegas?
Yes, I'm a native Las Vegan.
So Battleborn.
I'm Battleborn. You got it.
And how did you come to being in the outreach public awareness
Well,
coordinator business?
here's the story. So
Mm-hmm.
we're actually a state-run program, and I'm dating myself now. When I was 11 years old, my grandmother, she was a ex-school teacher, and she wanted me to have all the resources that all the other kids had. Obviously, I'm completely blind. I don't know if you didn't mention that, I don't think.
No, I
But
didn't.
yes, I've been blind since birth. So she wanted me to have all of the tools and things at my fingertips as well, just like all the other kids. So somehow she found out about the Talking Book program and got me signed up. And this is back when they were sending out cassettes and floppy records, and that's what the books and magazines were on. And I grew up using the program. And then in 2000, we had a sub-regional library down here at the time. So I went in, I was a volunteer. I used to, they were close enough to my house, I could just walk up there and get my books instead of having to get them through the mail. And I noticed there were some people in there one day, and I asked the woman who was running it at the time, I said, hey, are you guys looking for some volunteers? And she said, yeah, actually we are. So I started to volunteer with them. I used to come in one day a week and just sit and rewind cassettes. And then I started to do more things like sorting books, shelving books. I even would take patron calls and take requests. So it went from one day a week to 2 days a week, 3 days, and so on and so forth. So before you knew it, I was volunteering every day. And then in 2001, they were looking for some people to work part-time, 20 hours a week. And they were using Apple One at the time, the temp agency. So I went through Apple One and I applied for the job, and I got it. So I was a temp for about 6 years, and I did circulation and patron record maintenance, stuff like that. And then in 2006, they said, well, here's what we're doing. We're closing the sub-regional library, but we want to keep an office down here that just does outreach, because the bulk of the population obviously is here in Las Vegas, in this area.
Right.
So I applied for the position, which is a state position, and I got it. And this is where I've been since 2006. And I'm the outreach person. I always tell people I have the coolest job at Nevada State Library Archives and Public Records. So
Yeah.
that's true. I get to meet cool people like you.
It sounds pretty cool. I used to be a librarian for a short time for Bombardier Airlines.
Oh.
And they're a manufacturer of aircraft. And I really enjoyed the job. It was a lot of work, but I really enjoyed it.
Right.
And so can you tell me, how long has the department been around then, actually?
The Talking Book program?
Yeah.
The Talking Book program has been around since 1931. It was the Pratt-Smoot Act that actually put it into action. So, and because this is actually a federal program, so we're part of a network of cooperating libraries that does this service. So we provide audio reading materials, books and magazines completely free of charge to anybody with a disability where they couldn't read standard print. And at that time, it was just set up to include blind adults, and they've amended that act a bunch of times. So now it's, blind children and other people with other disabilities, not just visual impairments, but a physical disability where they can't hold books or turn pages, things like that. Also, like a perceptual disability, like dyslexia, a reading disability, that would qualify somebody to use this. So that's kind of how they've done that. They've amended it a bunch of times, and now it's it is what it is today.
So that the website is kid friendly then, so that the kids can search things?
Sure.
Is there a
kids
special section for them?
Yeah, there is a kids section actually for kids books and things like that. And as a matter of fact, it's called the Kids Zone. So, and that's on the national website, National Library Services. If you go to their site, there's something called Kids Zone that has all the latest kids books and magazines and things like that, because obviously there is no age limit to use our service.
Right.
You just have to have that disability where you're not able to read standard print.
Do they have to create like a, profile for themselves?
No, what happens is there's an application process to use the service.
Okay.
So they would fill out the application, or somebody would help them fill it out, whatever. And then on the second page of that application, it has to be signed off on by a certifying authority. And that's any competent professional who can say that, yes, this person does have that disability. So that could be a medical doctor, a nurse, a teacher for the disabled, a librarian, social worker. Anyone in those related fields can actually certify somebody to use the service. So once that application is filled out, you send back, and then you will hear from us within a week, and we will send you your player, because we send out special players for the books. And we also then we send you your first cartridge. And the cartridges now, remember how I said earlier, they used to use cassettes and floppy records. So
Right.
now they're like flash drive type cartridges. You don't need a computer to play them. It's just played on our machines. And they basically have so many books on a cartridge. We usually start them out with about 5 books to just to get them going. And if they want more, they can just let us know. And so some people are real voracious readers, and they want, say 15 to 20 books on a cartridge. So we can do
Right.
that for them if they prefer.
Yeah, I actually love Audible, because I can listen to stuff on there,
Yeah.
because I'm a slow reader. So I just, if I listen to a book, I can, really take into consideration what it's saying.
Right. Right.
So can you define for me what print impairment is?
A print impairment is anything, whether permanent or temporary, that would impede your ability to read standard print. So, like we were saying earlier, a visual impairment where you have trouble seeing the print, or you can't see the print at all, in my case, or somebody who's not able to hold print or turn pages, or something like a reading disability like dyslexia, where somebody, obviously the letters get mixed up, or something of that nature.
Right.
So that would be a print impairment.
And can they search your department website using voice instead of having to type it in or anything like that?
I think if they're using dictation, like say on the iPhone,
Yeah.
you could probably do that, but we don't have it set up specifically like that. But there is an edit box where if somebody who's using screen reading software, you type in what you're searching for. That's on our online catalog, and then they can search that way. With the online catalog, you can search for titles or authors or subjects. And if you find something you like, you can just add it to your own record. You'll get a login and all that type of stuff once you're on the program and approved.
Do you ever like go into the schools and talk to the children about this website?
I do all the time. I'll talk to the kids. Matter of fact, I was just out last month at Nevada Blind Children's Foundation,
Oh,
and I spoke to them about the talking book program. We provide Braille as well, not just audio, but we also provide Braille books. Whether physical Braille, same thing with the audio. So they can either get the cartridges in the mail from us, or they can download. And the same goes for the Braille. They can either get a physical Braille book in the mail that they can read, or they can just download our books in Braille. We have these devices now called e-readers, where somebody can just download right to their e-reader and read it right there on their machine.
yeah, it's very I'm sorry, hang on a minute here. So do they have to contact you and book you ahead of time, like to come to the school and whatnot?
Usually that's the case, or I'll reach out. I've done that in some cases too. In the case of the one I just told you about, Nevada Blind Children's Foundation, yeah, they actually reached out to me and asked me to come out and said, hey, we're having a Braille literacy night, and would you be interested in coming and talking to some of the kids? So I did. I came out there, and they loved it. I mean, one kid was really into the e-reader and definitely wanted to get that, and he liked the player too. So that's and the nice thing is too, there's an app. It's a free app that you can get if you're on our program. It's called Bard Mobile, and it's actually iOS, Android, and Kindle compatible. So depending on what device you have, So you can start searching for books and downloading them right onto your device and listening to them on your device if you prefer to do that instead of us sending you the machine. So that's another way. And that's, kids seem to like that too, where they can actually, because, you know, they don't like the big clunky machines sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course not. They like to have their own little, Google notebooks and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
All right there, one-stop shop, you know, right there on your phone. So
Um,
it's pretty cool.
so do you need to be a US citizen to use this department page?
No, no, no. You just have to reside in the US. So, and then obviously have a disability that qualifies you.
Okay. And so they have to send you paperwork.
Right. They can actually get the application off our website, or they can reach out to us or email us and say, hey, look, I'm interested in getting involved or being a patron on the Talking Book program. There's also a thing called the Leads form that's through National Library Services, where if you're in the state and you're online, you're like, oh, my mom's losing her vision and she really likes reading. So you could put in something like free audio books for Nevada residents or whatever. And then obviously you get that lead form and you can put in your information, and then, we'd get that, and then we'd contact the person and kind of work from there.
Oh, that's great. That's really, really great. Do you have any like special interest areas for veterans or special activities?
Well, I mean, obviously with the veterans, there's a new thing called the rapid sign up, where they're training VA staff to sign up patrons, and it's a lot quicker than the standard application process for us average Joes. So they pretty much set that person up right away. And if they do want to start downloading, that it gets them set up to where they can start downloading books from us right away, or they can, they'll get their book in their player right away. So it's a very fast way to get them going on the program. So yeah, that kind of gets them started a little better, a little faster.
That's great. Do you also like have an academic area? Say someone is studying medicine or something, where they could also retrieve, I don't know, school books and whatnot.
Well, we don't have a lot of textbooks. That's not really our thing. Our thing is pretty much anything you find in a public library, pleasure reading wise. So, fiction, nonfiction, bestsellers, stuff like that is what we would have. So
So
it's more of it's a library service more so.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes a library will have like a section for that, because medical books,
Right.
textbooks are very expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could
It's hard
search.
enough.
Well, you could search by subject and see what, if you could find something. But no, if you need a textbook, something that's pretty involved, that's probably not something our stuff is more for pleasure reading and that type of thing. Novels, it's good for, especially for if you're in a literature class or something and you're looking for something that you need to read for class, you could get that through us.
So if somebody were to contact you and ask you if you could find something special for them, are you able to do that?
Something special as
Yeah,
far
like
as,
a like a special book that may be out of print or something like that. Can
if
they
it's in,
request books from you, basically?
well, if it's in our collection, obviously we can provide. If it's not in the collection, we cannot. Now there is a form where patrons can suggest books to be added to the collection, and obviously National Library Services will take that into consideration, and it has to be within 5 years. If it's been published 5 years ago, then they would consider it. But anything that's older, say like 20 years older, they won't take that request. They won't even consider something like that.
You can't order Moby Dick online, then maybe.
Well, we would have Moby Dick. Moby Dick would
Oh,
be
you
in our
do?
collection
Okay.
anyway. I mean, obviously something like that would be in our collection. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's something, whether it's in our collection or not. And sometimes there are books that are, and others that are not. But again, if it's something that was published within 5 years, they can request that with that form. And if if they're on, and again, they have to be on the program too to get books. You can't just say, well, hey, I'm blind. Could you send me some audiobooks?
Right.
Well, no, you got to apply for the program. And once you're approved and on the program, then we can start sending you books.
Okay. So what is the one thing about helping people with their discovery of books that you enjoy? And can you tell me an instance where you were successful in helping a client and that really touched you?
You know what? You just took me back to something that back when the sub-regional library was down here. And I suggested a few authors and titles for a guy. And I came in Monday morning. This was over the weekend. This guy must have called, and he was like, you could make money. This is the voicemail he left. You could make money suggesting books for people. And these books are so good. I love that Gone South book. And he's such a good author. And he just ranted and raved about it. And I was just like, wow, that's really cool. That I was able to find some stuff. And, you kind of get a feel, especially if it's something that you the stuff you like to read,
Right.
and you can sort of suggest things, and hopefully they take to them.
Yeah,
So
so maybe you should do a 10-tip show.
well,
Buy 10 books.
Maybe so. But
Right.
yeah, no, and there have been other situations. There was somebody at a spotlight meeting recently who is pretty much almost blind, and she actually stood up and started talking about, she thanked me personally. She said, I just want to thank Brett Silver from the Talking Book program. And, he's opened up a world for me. And she got kind of emotional. And I was like, wow, that's, very cool that we can do that for people.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Spotlight Meeting is a networking group here in Las Vegas.
Right. For anybody who's in the senior industry, and which we obviously, well, not just seniors, we deal with all ages, but definitely
Right.
seniors are a big part of our patron base.
Yes, and I'm very proud to be getting to the age that I am, so I don't mind so much.
Well, it is good. It's good to be able to say, hey, look, I made it this far,
Right. Yeah, every morning is a good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So lastly, like, how can people contact you? Do you have a website or email address that they
Sure.
need to go to contact you if they have questions?
Absolutely. What they can do is they can call us at 1-800-922-9334. Again, that's 1-800-922-9334. Or they can email us at nvtalkingbooks@admin.nv.gov. Again, that's NV like Nevada, talking books at admin.nv.gov. Or they can go to our website, nsla.nv.gov, and then follow the links to the Talking Book section.
Oh, that's great. Listen, Brett, I want to thank you for being on our show.
Absolutely.
And maybe I was thinking about having a party or something on Zoom for all the guests that have been on for this year at the end of the year. So maybe you'll come back and join us.
I think we should have a party at your house.
Yes.
That's what we should do.
Okay. Sounds good.
Of course.
We'll put the phone numbers and all your contacts on our website, on our social media posts.
Absolutely.
And as always, for this show is educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a medical professional, and if you have an emergency, please call 911. Don't call me, and the number in your area or your country. For more shows, please visit us at our Facebook page at Advice Dear Mrs. Knapp, or on our website where you can sign up for our newsletter, receive a free provider e-booklet to help you when you go to your yearly visit. It's a fast download. You can put all your information in it, and I think it's really useful to have when you go to the doctor. You can also find that at www.bluebirdhealthadvocates.com. Wishing you all a sunny day in Las Vegas. Until the next episode, this is Joanne Ryshpan, and this is the Mrs. Knapp Show.